Good morning. I'll watch that too. Okay, good morning everybody. I'm Jim Cusick. I'm the Regional Vice President for Platform and Technologies. I work with Nate and Irfan and have been part of this group for about 10 years like Irfan has, so very happy to be here. And what we wanted to do this morning was have some of our customers share stories with you about their use of platform and technologies in their business. And hopefully you'll get a chance to say how it might apply to your business. So I'd like to welcome up our guests this morning. First, I'd like to welcome Anita Matthew from AIG. So welcome up, Anita. Next, we've got Jessica Jones from State of Arkansas. So thank you very much, Jessica, for joining us. Next, we have Michael Bagala from Flowserve. So thanks for coming, Michael. And finally, my friend Kanyadan from Mohawk. Thanks very much. So please have a seat. So we're limited on microphones, so we're going to share them. So what I'd like to do this morning is basically have each one of our panelists just introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about their business, and then we're going to follow that up, go through and each person will tell a story about how they're using data and the platform and technologies in their business. So Anita or Jessica, you can start off. Thanks.
Hi, Anita Matthew from AIG. So we are a multinational insurance company, the famous 2008 Too Big to Fail AIG. So I manage all the corporate finance systems. So basically all the way from record to report. So starting from the master data governance to all the general ledgers, to the business warehouse and BPC, which we use for like planning, consolidation, and we have business objects, and finally the SAP Analytics Cloud platform sits on top of all of that. So I manage all of corporate finance.
Thank you. I'm Jessica Jones. I'm the CIO for the state of Arkansas and also the director of the Arkansas Department of Information Systems. So what do we do at my agency? We provide technology services and solutions for other agencies and for public entities. So we have approximately about 300 customers. So, provide services to the Department of Workforce Services, Human Services, any cities and counties. That's kind of what we do. But I'll save this story for later.
Thank you.
Good morning, this is Michael Bagala. I am the IT Director responsible for Enterprise Information Management at Flowserve. Flowserve is an industrial manufacturer of pumps, valves, and provide aftermarket services to our customers around the world. We've got about 300 locations worldwide, service around 15,000 customers in that industrial space.
Thanks, Mike. This is Jana Kanyadan. I'm the CIO for Mohawk. Mohawk is about an $11 billion company making everything flooring. Probably what you are standing on or keeping your feet on right now in the conference here or in your home, you're probably touching a Mohawk product with a worldwide presence, making not only flooring in the countertops and now on roofing as well. Okay. Looking forward to this business.
Great, thanks, Jana. So Anita, one of the things we were talking about is, you mentioned all the data-related products, the analytics products, and you talked about how you guys are really using all this to get a better handle on spend within the firm and what impact that's having. So hopefully you can share a couple stories and ideas about how this has impacted the business and how it's becoming such a big theme I'm seeing across many of our customers.
So let me talk about total spend management, and I'm sure you all have the same pressures that we have at AIG, which is cut expenses, cut expenses, cut expenses. They never tell grow profits, right? They always say cut expenses. So last year, like the early 2018, we started with the SAP Cloud Analytics platform, and like as Irfan mentioned, our core was we have to give visibility and control to the business, but we don't want to move data, because every time you move data, you reconcile it like 5,000 times. So the way we started thinking of how we're going to use our SAP Cloud Analytics platform was, since we are mostly SAP HANA databases on our reporting, on our finance systems, we just connected directly to our BPC HANA database, the BW HANA database. And fortunately for AIG, we have Fieldglass, Concur, and Ariba as well. So it was like a total platform for us that we could use the cloud analytics. So we had two views to how we're going to help business. One was just a pure financial view. So you start with a P&L. Say you go to general operating expenses, and then you go to like the travel and expense, and then once you click on that, you can go directly to the subledger in your Concur database. So this was very compelling because once you go to that, then you can move it into an operational reporting and do any slicing and dicing you want. And why, especially Concur, why this was important to our business was, you know, like we can do simple things. For example, because, you know, like Marriott bought so many companies, right? So they have Starwood, they have so many brands under them. AIG could not figure out what was a Marriott spend. You know, what was a spend on Marriott, right? So we had to make sure our hierarchies work. And this is very important to get a good view because then AIG can go back to Marriott and do a lot of negotiations to reduce our costs because, you know, we have like 50,000 employees and a lot of them travel. So, you know, like that was one of our use cases that the business wanted. And the same thing we do. So we have like a total spend management view. So we know where the contractors are through our field glass, right? So we know like, you know, low cost, high cost. And the analytics platform is awesome with the visualization because keep in mind, we've been doing reporting, right? So we have business objects. But at some point, you need to get out of reporting and get into analytics because you need to know the what, the why, and the how, because otherwise, what value are you adding to your business? So we have found this product to be really helpful for the business on the total spend management. And then, so we have Fieldglass Concur, we have all the, you know, Ariba, the purchase orders. And it's been working really well for us.
And what was the reaction from the line of business when you delivered these capabilities? Were, you know, did they look at you as the IT delivery folks differently? I mean, I assume they would. I just am interested in hearing how they responded and reacted when you delivered this capability.
We haven't rolled it out everywhere, but you know, whoever has been using it, you know, especially on the operational side, you know, because keep in mind, IT brought the product, right? Business didn't ask. So at least you're a little more respected with the business.
Right.
So the partnership improves. And we don't have all of total spend management because keep in mind, we also have a lot of IT spend. And believe it, we haven't still done the IT spend into it. So that's our phase 2. But it's really helped with our partnership because now we're saying, hey, you know, we're there to help you go to analytics and make your decision making better.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Anita. So, Jessica, we were talking about the data-driven state, the data-driven enterprise that I thought was very applicable to many of our other customers. So maybe share with us how you guys have really leveraged the power of your data.
Definitely. I'm extremely excited to be able to share how SAP has helped us to create a data-driven approach to reducing recidivism. So whenever I say recidivism, that means when a person returns back to prison. So I'm going to be utilizing that term, so if you're not familiar with it. But first and foremost, I really want to give a quick shout out to Intel and HPE. They were partners with SAP and they helped invest in the state of Arkansas, so thank you so much. This really could have never been happening without our vendor partners, so thank you. Just a quick background. The state of Arkansas today is experiencing the fastest growing prison population across the country. So that's a big issue, and of course, you know, not only it impacts our communities, the state's economy, but the agencies that support, you know, this population. In fact, Arkansas has a 3-year recidivism rate of 57.6%. What that means is that 1 out of 2 individuals that get released return back to prison within a period of 3 years, right? So another thing to note was that our Arkansas Department of Corrections has a capacity for 15,000 individuals, but the actual population is 18,000. What does that do? Just to kind of give you an example, in 2018, the state spent $18 million reimbursing county jails due to the lack of beds at the Department of Corrections. So we have a big problem. We knew we had, you know, to bring a vendor partner like SAP to help us with it. How do we dig into the data so that we can figure it out? What is happening really, and what can we do? Because this is our citizens, right? And how can we improve those lives of our citizens? So back in January 2018, SAP and the state of Arkansas engaged in a design thinking workshop. It included all levels of agency personnel, which it was great to see, from agency heads all the way to parole board officers that deal with these individuals. This was great to see for me, you know, bringing everybody together to the table and just watch them interact and talk about data sharing and talk about the possibilities, but what, we are highly decentralized in government, and today we don't share data, right? So just watching that particular moment right there for me was great. So move forward, the agency agreed to move forward with the proof of concept, and it started with formalizing data sharing agreements. Now, keep in mind that the data sharing agreements took about between 8 to 9 months to complete. And I go back to again because we're very silo. Some of the agencies share data today, but they just share it on a needed or required basis. There's not an automated way. So 8 months too. That was the biggest challenge out of the whole thing. The technical work only took 3 months, which was amazing, right? So the POC was delivered in February. So the first meeting that we have, SAP, and I'll give a shout out to Sarah and Chris, did a presentation to the agency directors. And another, to me, it was successful to see the agency directors that really and truly digging into the data and asking questions about what kind of other questions they can get answered, right? So the POC delivered, a couple of dashboards. The executive dashboard, which of course it gives you an overview of the level of recidivism in the state. It gave them, of course, the release and the recidivated population by offense type. The first data point that we were able to see that is drug offenses are a contributor to the number of offenders. Major big point. The other one was that we could see that program enrollment and program completion, meaning when an individual gets involved, say, in a substance abuse treatment, and that individual completes that program, the chances for that individual to recidivate become lower. Now, one of the good insights that we found out was that it was definitely a correlation between the distance of a treatment facility to a program completion. Meaning, now we know that if an individual lives within a 5-mile radius of a treatment facility, the chances of him or her to complete a program are greater, and the chances for that individual to recidivate are lower. So this is the kind of things that we really need to be doing at the government level, right? Any level, anyway. So amazing. The other amazing was not only at the executive level, but for the parole board officers, we have our operational dashboard. So now, a parole officer is able to see, by individual basis, he can see the risk score of an individual over 3 years. So what are the chances of an individual to recidivate the first year, the second year, and the third year? Right, these risk scores were calculated using the predictive model. And not only that, on that dashboard, the parole officer now is able to see the recommendations of interventions based on that offender. So think about the way we're changing how an employee works, right? And like you said, I think it's great. We do a lot of reporting, but now you have the visual there. Not only that, think about parole officers. There's high turnover for them, right? So now you can bring somebody new, and it's there right there in their screen. So amazing to me. To me, it's just a small sample of what all the possibilities that we can do around the state.
Yeah, breaking down barriers, really getting insight, sharing information, which a lot of companies don't want to do either, right? It's like, oh, this is my data, I don't want to share it with you. Showing the power of that, and then truly improving people's lives. This is making a change in all sorts of folks' lives. So I think it's a fantastic use case. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So Michael, I'm going to turn to you next. So, two really data-driven factors here. And a big part of it is, can I trust my data? And I've talked to a lot of clients over the years about, how do I trust my data? Maybe the data in my core system is good, but what about all this other data I'm bringing in? So tell us about your story at Flowserve and how important that's been.
So Flowserve was formed as a legal entity back in the 1990s, but our heritage brands actually date back into the 1700s. Over the years, the organization grew through both merger and acquisition, and I use the term loosely managed as a holding company because largely as we integrated those companies and acquired them, they ran as independent businesses. And so as the years went on, we collected up what are now 300 individual businesses that form the Flowserve global organization. That worked relatively well until the decline in the crude oil prices several years ago when market pressure started to make it harder and harder for us to achieve our financial results. As oil prices declined and our primary market being oil and gas, capital expenditures from our customers started to tail off as well. And we quickly found ourselves several years ago in a challenging position to figure out how to optimize our global business across the world. And we had a new executive come on, Scott Rowe, as our Chief Executive Officer. And he was really chartered with establishing Flowserve's future. And it's, the concept has been branded as Flowserve 2.0. So we have the old way of working and the new way of working. And one of the key transitions in Flowserve 1.0 to Flowserve 2.0 was reimagining what those 300 locations were. Transitioning them from them thinking they were profit centers, P&Ls, to looking at them more as cost centers and manufacturing facilities. And so as Scott started to chart the new future for Flowserve and identify what initiatives were going to be critical to moving us into the future and to bringing those 300 locations or 300 loosely coupled businesses together as a single enterprise company, he quickly realized that many of the initiatives that were being laid out as part of that transformation were relying on having good quality, clean data. We run our global business today on 43 ERP systems. So just to make me feel better, by a show of hands, who has more than 43 ERP systems in their global organization today?
Okay, very good. AIG.
Oh, all right. So we run our business today on 43. Now the good news is that at one time that was 70 ERP systems. So we've actually made quite a bit of progress over the last 5 or 6 years. But you can imagine how moving from a decentralized set of 300 businesses into a single enterprise company, when you run your business on so many different systems, how critical data becomes to that. And Scott quickly realized that in order to make the transformation, affect the transformation that was needed to move the organization forward, something had to change. And so Flowserve embarked 2 years ago on a new journey, as I mentioned, called Flowserve 2.0. That journey was founded upon some key enabling technologies. So we have embarked on a 5-year journey to consolidate our ERP platform onto S/4HANA. We've also embarked on an important master data journey. Today, having all of those different disparate systems, it's very difficult to understand what our customer spend is in a given area. Shell is one of our largest customers globally. And if you went and asked somebody, well, what's the total business that we do with Shell on an annual basis, we'd be hard-pressed to gather that data together. And it has to do with the fact that our transactional data is spread across all those various systems, but it also has to do with the fact that we've never managed our master data as a true strategic asset of the company. So we embarked in January of last year on a journey to put in place a foundational governance program for our customers, our vendors, and our material data globally. And it's been a transformational program because today, or I should say a year or two ago, each of those 300 locations largely could go into their own ERP system, create and manage whatever customer, vendor, and material data they wanted to. We transformed through the use of SAP MDG to take that master data creation and maintenance out of the local sites and bring it to the center at an enterprise level and to put the appropriate governance around that. And that is basically setting the stage as really phase 0 of our ERP consolidation to make sure that we get our data under control and we have clean data that we can move forward with our ERP consolidation for. So a hugely transformational journey from a business perspective. Interestingly, many of the organizations that embark on a master data program like this, it's kind of like pushing a wet string uphill to try to get the business engaged. We're in a unique position that the business understands the criticality of that to being able to affect that transformation. And so we are finding that they are calling on IT more and more to advance that program to be that enabler that's needed in order to realize the benefits of all the transformation initiatives that are going on. SAP MDG is the foundational technology that was critical to that. S/4HANA is our strategic platform for ERP consolidation, and we use a variety of SAP products in the information management space for analytics initiatives globally. But it's been a great program. We leveraged a key implementation partner called Utopia to guide us on that journey. And we are wrapping up this year our phase 1 rollouts of our MDM program. I refer to it as a journey. So we're in chapter 1 of a long book with many chapters in it. But we've laid the foundation using SAP technology and SAP partners that will really prepare us for the future.
That's fantastic, Michael, and really this idea that as you bring all these systems together, you've got to have consistent data. Otherwise, how do I know what's actually happening? Exactly. When I break down the barriers, when I start going on the intelligent enterprise journey and bring all these systems together, is it the same customer or not? How do I know? So thank you so much. So the next one is Jana, and so John has been on this path of the intelligent enterprise for a number of years. He's been working to break down these silos that we've heard in these other customers. They've worked on the data, and they've actually gone towards the intelligent enterprise with some of the predictive manufacturing you've done. So maybe share some of the stories you guys are using to, take that next leap forward, John. It's been a great journey.
Thank you, Jim. One of the things, I'm going to lighten up this thing a little bit here.
Okay.
Right, so that, I think everybody is falling asleep here. It's time to wake up. They're better than coffee. I was just going to, one of the lessons people say is don't pick on your panel partners when you're in the panel. And I'm going to do that. Okay, I'm going to break the rule. Okay. The way, Mike, you need to put some restrictions on how many times you use transformation, Michael, next time onwards. And SAP, I felt like I was sitting here and going to SAP infomercial on data and things, right? But it's a good thing, right? A lot of products, a lot of innovations. But I can tell you a story in terms of when Mohawk started. This is even before SAP came up with this Leonardo and other things. This was 7 years ago. We were working with the labs, SAP labs in California. And in a carpet manufacturing, we basically today identify every foot of carpet like your baby, like every born-on characteristics, right? Your baby has weight and height and things. For every foot of carpet, we know using sensors how it is manufactured, what kind of characteristic, what is a quality issue, that we can trace it back and maintain it for the next 15 years or whatever the carpet warranty period is. This was 7 years ago when we were pulling data right from the factory floor and being able to use it for a lot of analytics, up front, like for claims analytics. When the claim comes through, we will be able to say 85% of the time the claims is fake. It is absolutely, because they have no basis for it, and we have the better data to send back to the customer to say, this cannot have a quality issue. Literally, our claims department went from 40 people working on 2 people working on 7% of the issues. That is the type of things that, when we started the journey, looking at how do we move from collecting the data to say, what do we do with it, and what kind of decisions can we make? And continuously improving that in 4 core pillars that we talk about. One is the customer facing. Every engagement that we do with the customers, how do we analyze that journey? The second is the integrated supply chain, which is key to Mohawk, right? How do we, because we are end-to-end, fully vertically integrated company, we make our own raw materials. By the way, we recycle 7 billion plastic bottles a year. That is 45% of every plastic bottle thrown out in the world. Mohawk recycles 100%. I mean 100%. It goes into carpet, it produces the softest, extremely stain resistant. Therefore, if you throw away Dasani or Aquafina water bottle, make sure that it goes into a proper recycle bin because it is going to be recycled 100%. Therefore, from cradle to grave, how do we make our own carpet, we distribute it, our tiles, our wood products. And the third aspect, this is where, not least, is how do we, the third strategic pillar is, how do we convert data into information that drives people to take action in every aspect of our business process. And the last one, not the least, is how do we make sure that our employees are the most productive when it comes to work, that they have the right tools, they have the right technologies from an infrastructure standpoint, from an application standpoint, so that you have single sign-on, the most productive. It doesn't matter where you are. So when you have those focus and those 4 things, that is what we've been on the journey on, and so far it's working out really good.
That's fantastic. Yeah, and it really does show that, once you get a handle on that data, all of a sudden new insights can be found. And that idea behind, as you were making the carpet, how can I make sure it's going to match when I lay it down in a big room like this? And then if there is a problem, how do we make sure it's a good claim or not? I mean, just impact on the business from a huge
I
perspective.
think they hired Jim into Mohawk.
That's right. I've heard the story before. It's a really good one. So,
That's that, Jim.
we have a couple of microphones if anybody has a pertinent question they want to ask, but we also only have a few minutes as we get ready for Sapphire. So, overall, any last comments that anybody wants to make on this discussion? Yes, it was a little bit infomercial, but it's because these clients use our products and they're working well. So I'm very glad about that. So.
Who wants to buy SAP Leonardo?
All right. Well, John and Michael, Jessica, Anita, thank you guys for sharing some stories today. Everybody here at Sapphire, we're getting to know each other this morning, so thank you for coming out. Please share your stories with each other, and let's have a great Sapphire. So thank you so much. And with that, I'm going to turn this over to my friend Shah.